Today we're taking on the queen of biryanis, the Hyderabadi Chicken Biryani. This biryani is absolutely delicious and aromatic. It's not that hard to recreate this special, authentic recipe at home. We hope you give this recipe a try. Let's get started. We start off by making the special Hyderabadi Biryani Masala powder. For this, you will need the following spices: 10 cloves. I'm adding the spices to a dry pan. It is not on heat yet. 3 green cardamom pods, half a teaspoon of black peppercorns, 2 sticks of cinnamon that have been broken up, half a teaspoon of cumin seeds. This is mace. Mace is one of those spices we may have all heard of but aren't really sure what it is. This is mace. It's actually the lacy coating that is found on a nutmeg seed. And here we have the nutmeg seed in its shell. So we need one of these mace spices and a small piece of nutmeg. Want very little, just a quarter teaspoon's worth, like this. We also need caraway seeds or shahi jeera, a quarter teaspoon. And half a teaspoon of fennel seeds. This is star anise. We need 2 segments of this flower-like spice. So now I've turned on the heat and we're going to toast these spices for just about a minute, stirring continuously on a low to medium heat till the spices are nice and aromatic. We also need a half a teaspoon of white poppy seeds, but I didn't have that today. You can also replace this with 3 cashew nuts if you prefer. Just add it to the mix. Once you can really smell the spices, we're going to add 1 dried rose. Just break up the dried petals, turn off the heat, give this a good stir. So we've added the toasted spices to a small spice grinder, and we're also going to add the following spice powders: a half a teaspoon of coriander powder, a half a teaspoon of chili powder, and a quarter teaspoon of turmeric powder. You just want to grind this to make a nice fine spice mix. This is your Hyderabadi Biryani Masala powder. Let's just set that aside. And now we're going to marinate our chicken. To marinate 1 kilogram of chicken, we need 15 large-sized cloves of garlic like this, and approximately the same amount of ginger. You also need 1 cup of thick hung yogurt. Hung yogurt is yogurt that has been hung in a muslin cloth for about 20 minutes till the whey is removed. We need 2 teaspoons of lime juice, so I'm going to add these ingredients to a small grinder here or small processor. To this, add 2 tablespoons of coriander powder, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, and 1 1/4 teaspoons of turmeric powder. The same spices that went into the spice mix, we're adding that to the marinade here. You also want a large handful of fresh mint leaves. Use the freshest leaves possible, and a small handful of fresh coriander leaves that have been rinsed well. So that goes in, as well as our lime juice, and the thick hung yogurt. And don't forget to add 2 teaspoons of the prepared biryani spice masala powder. And we can grind this to a fine paste. So this is what we're going to use to marinate our chicken. We have 1 kilogram of chicken that's been cleaned, rinsed, drained. It's skinless. So to this we're going to add the marinade and half a teaspoon of meat tenderizer powder or 2 tablespoons of raw papaya paste is often used. This is optional. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Rub the marinade into the chicken pieces and marinate for at least 30 minutes. Next, we're going to soak our basmati rice. We have 4 cups of nice aged basmati. So you want to rinse this really well with a gentle scrubbing action. Rinse the rice 5 to 6 times till the water runs clear. And you want to soak this for 30 minutes as well. Next we need red onions for frying. I've peeled 5 red onions here and I'm using a mandolin slicer to slice them really finely. They need to be paper thin, like this. So that's 5 red onions sliced. The rice has been soaking for 30 minutes. We can drain it now. Always set a timer when you soak your rice. Now here I'm using a large pressure cooker. You can use a regular large pot instead. To this we're adding 3/4 of a cup of peanut oil or rice bran oil. These are preferred. You can use any vegetable oil or sunflower oil as well. Now first we heat up the oil and add the finely sliced onions. Now the next step takes a little patience, and we're going to fry the onions till they're perfectly golden brown. You need to keep stirring. Don't step away for too long or you risk burning your onions. Now it looks almost done. Keep a close watch on it at this stage. You don't want it to burn. Now we're going to take about less than half of the fried onions and set this aside. This is for the final garnish of the biryani. To the remaining golden onions in the pot, add the marinated chicken. I've turned up the heat a little bit. You want to toss the chicken till the chicken absorbs the brown color from the onions and really soaks up that aroma and fries up a bit. So once the color darkens a bit, we're going to add more spice powders. 2 tablespoons of coriander powder. And the remaining prepared biryani spice mix. It's about 2 tablespoons left here. So you want to stir this on a medium heat, careful not to burn any of the spices. Give it a good stir till all the spices and masala coats the chicken pieces really well. Now you can add 2 cups of water, that's 480 mils. Stir it really well, make sure there's no spice mix stuck on the bottom of the pot. And bring this to a boil. As soon as it reaches a boil, we can cover it and lower the heat and cook covered for about 10 minutes. Now here I'm using my pressure cooker, but as you can see, I'm not using the pressure regulator, the weight. Instead, I've just used the lid. So in a regular pot, just use a tight fitting lid, close tightly and cook on low heat for 10 minutes. While the chicken cooks on a very low heat for about 10 minutes, we're going to start cooking our rice. For this, we need 3 liters of water into a large pot. I move the pressure cooker onto a smaller burner to cook on the lowest heat. So to this water, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of salt. Don't worry, most of this water gets drained away, and we need this amount of salt to season the rice properly. As the water comes to a boil, add the spices: 5 cloves, 2 sticks of cinnamon, 3 or 4 green cardamom pods. So bring this to a nice rolling boil. And we're going to add in our rice, the drained basmati rice. Cover immediately and cook on high till the water bubbles up to the lid. This should happen in about 1 minute. So once the water has bubbled up like this, remove the lid quickly, lower the heat, and simmer for exactly 5 minutes. Use your timer. And you want to drain the rice quickly. Reserve a quarter cup of the cooking liquid. The rice should be only 3/4 cooked at this stage. Around this time, our chicken masala has been cooking for 10 minutes on a low flame. We can check on that now. You want to open the cooker, and if there's too much liquid left, you want to continue cooking till there's about 2 cups of gravy or the liquid left. I just eyeball this. There should be about 2 cups of liquid remaining. So now I've just turned off the heat, and we're going to add sliced tomatoes and fresh herbs. I have 3 sliced tomatoes, a half a cup of fresh coriander, and a quarter cup of fresh mint, just roughly chopped. At this stage, you're going to lay all these ingredients just over the chicken masala. We are not going to stir this again. So you really need to make sure that none of the spice has stuck to the bottom of the pot before you add this layer of tomatoes and herbs. So just spread the tomatoes across as well as the fresh herbs, and we need 10 to 15 small hot green chilies. The green chilies are extremely important in this biryani. If you like it hotter, you can slit the green chilies like this. What I did, I added 5 just whole, and I slit 5 of them. You can add as many green chilies as you like. The aroma from the green chilies is really important in an authentic Hyderabadi biryani. So we've layered our fresh ingredients over the cooked chicken masala, and now we can top this with the partially cooked rice, the rice that's 3/4 done. Remember, the flame is off at this stage. So we're just going to fluff up this rice and layer it on top. So continue till all the rice is layered. Just gently pat it to smooth the surface. And here we have a quarter cup of the cooking liquid that we cooked the rice in, just a quarter cup, and 4 tablespoons of ghee. We're mixing it together till the ghee is melted in the hot stock. and you want to pour this over the rice. Distribute it evenly, and you also want to add saffron milk. This is 2 teaspoons of saffron that was soaked in 2 tablespoons of milk. That's boiled hot milk. It was set aside a while ago so that it really releases the flavor and the color of the saffron into the milk. Just pour that into the side of the rice. This is to gently color it very subtly. In the end, we don't use any artificial coloring. So before we go on to the dum process, I'm just going to clean up my stove. And now we're going to seal cook the biryani. This is called the dum process. Usually you can do this in a pot. I'm using my pressure cooker because it's a rather large one and it mimics the process of the dum. The dum process is simply a sealed method of cooking the biryani so that all the aromas and the flavors are locked in while cooking. So in this case, when I'm using a pressure cooker, what I do is I place the pressure cooker lid with the pressure regulator this time so that no steam escapes, and place it on the stove on a very low flame for 10 minutes. After which you just want to rest the biryani for a while and then you can open it. Now if you're using a regular pot, the regular process for doing this dum process is by kneading some dough. It's just plain flour and water into a rope to seal the edges of the pot. In this case, you can cook it on a low flame or an indirect flame for 20 to 30 minutes. So once the biryani has rested in the pot in its own steam for a while, maybe a half an hour, we can open the pot. It smells delicious. Now you want to gently lift the rice from the bottom with the masala. Don't overmix the biryani. Never overmix the biryani. You just want to fold over the rice and the masala a couple of times till it's evenly mixed with the masala. And don't scrape the bottom of the pot too much. As you can see, the rice is perfectly cooked. Using aged basmati rice and this process of partially cooking the rice in the water like that, it gives you a perfect grain. Each grain is separate and just perfectly cooked. So your delicious Hyderabadi chicken biryani is ready. Garnish with the fried onions that we had reserved earlier and serve with your favorite raita or yogurt salad. For all measurements and details on this recipe, please click the link in the description. Hope you enjoyed the video recipe. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.